This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net, and I'm going to have to do something here. I'm going to work this in before I forget it. This is about another thrilling edition of Adventures in Radioland. Today's segment, antennas that work well. Here's a recent comment from 2SD251 Jim. And he says, seems from the videos that every station you work sounds like they are S1. And my reply to that comment was, after many years and over 1,600 QSO-VLOG setups and recordings, we've worked our way down to those that can really use our help. That is precisely why many months ago, in addition to my local receiver, I started using 4 geographic chosen Internet SDR receivers. So now I know that when my local receiver and all 4 SDR receivers are receiving a signal poorly, there are probably antenna issues involved also. But that's for another day, a lifetime. And that was my comment response to Jim about so many S1 signals received. Now his observation was correct. I believe, though, that a 100-watt transmitter operating in the eastern part of the United States should show up at least as an S5 to S9 somewhere. If you are an S1 everywhere, you're not getting out. Let me repeat that. If you are an S1 everywhere, you're not getting out. Now, while I can technically set your transmitter up for optimal performance and operation, if you're operating a dummy load for an antenna, you will not be getting out well. So let me repeat that. If you're operating a dummy load for an antenna, you will not be getting out well. Radio antenna tuners do not solve the problem. They only mask the problem so the radio will operate correctly. A bad antenna is still a bad antenna. So now you're on the air with a bad antenna. The real name of the game is ERP over ADI. How well do you bring your effective radiated power over your area of dominant influence? To translate that formula, it just means to ask the question, how well are you getting out into the area you wish to be heard? Now we can blame poor performance on bad propagation till the cows come home, but if you're an S1 everywhere, you're not getting out. I propose a change in your life, a professional answer to amateur problem. It is the antenna that we've been using for many years here on 7188 for the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. It is the resonant, tuned, no SWR, specifically oriented dipole antenna. Yes, it is a dipole antenna, but a resonant, tuned dipole antenna. Look, Ma, no antenna tuner. Because they are tuned, they have no SWR to deal with. You're straight out of your radio to the antenna. No conversion loss antenna tuner to deal with. You are max power to the antenna. The second part of this great antenna is that it is directional. The EMF, which means electrical-magnetic force, moves off the dipole broadside to the elements. So you can choose your target area by the way you orient your dipole. That's what we mean by the formula ERP over ADI. Case in point, if you happen to live along the East Coast, you would probably want to orient your dipole east and west so it would radiate north and south. Otherwise, if you oriented your dipole north and south, you would be losing half your signal to the sharks at sea. On the other hand, if you enjoy working Europe, the north and south orientation would work out pretty well. It all depends on where you want your signal to go. The thing I'm pointing out is the resonant-tuned, no SWR oriented dipole antenna works well on many levels. I've A/B tested it at 600 miles with other popular antennas, and it has always been the hottest antenna. And that's why we've been running ours for the past 4 years here on the QSO-VLOG net on Friday afternoons. If you want to get out, get your antenna working as well as your radio. You're only as strong as your weakest link. If you're currently going through an antenna tuner, you are losing power in the mismatch correction, but you're losing most of your power in a poor, untuned antenna. Get yourself on the air with a resonant-tuned, no SWR, specifically oriented dipole antenna. It would be one of the greatest gifts you could give your station operation. And no, we don't sell them, but you can Google plans for free, and they're easy to build. The way I tune them is simple. I make SWR adjustments on the ground side of the dipole, and I bring it back onto my desired mid-band frequency on the high side. And you keep going back and forth like that until you work your SWR down to a 0.05 or so at the correct mid-band frequency. I hope this segment on SWR resonant, no SWR resonant tuned dipole antennas will be at least a spur to interest in building new antennas with greater efficiency. And that's our comment for today on the QSO-VLOG net about dipole antennas and how well they work. You can use your in-fed antennas with tuners, but you will be losing a signal in the tuner, and because of the fact that that long wire is not tuned precisely to the frequency, you'll be losing a lot of efficiency there. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.